Yesterday was Wednesday. Hey, you know what that means. What's going on, everyone? I am KBTHEMARK, co-host of the DMB podcast, and this is your AEW Dynamite review for May 19, 2021. This was an in-between Dynamite. It wasn't good. I mean, it was I don't even want to say it was watchable. It was decent. After last week's episode, I guess we did need a cool down point. Double or Nothing is fastly approaching. So I think they wanted to go ahead and finish locking up that card, and that card is looking beautiful. We're going to start off first match of the night, Christian versus Matt Sydal. It's a filling out process to start. Sydal tried to grab the leg, but it was reversed into a headlock. Sydal gets sent outside the ring, back in a backbreaker, and then a top rope elbow to the face by Christian to Sydal for a 2 count. We had a backbreaker that was countered into a head scissors. Then Sydal's spinning, jumping kick to the face gives him a breather. The Meteor gives Sydal a 2. There was a clothesline for another 2 count. Christian Spears countered into a sunset flip for a 2, and he misses a high crossbody as well. He finishes off Sydal with a kill switch for the win. I'm a Christian fan. I've been a Christian fan since Edge and Christian. I'm just not impressed. And I don't know if it was how he debuted or what it was. I'm just not feeling it. Post-match, Taz and Christian are going back and forth. Taz was on commentary for the match. And then Ricky Starks comes out to interrupt. He says he's his own man. And he is right here. He's not going to be on the sideline with the flunkies. He said him and Christian will have some business to handle. And then he called out Team Taz. Hook came in with a nice suplex. And Brian Cage and Powerhouse Hobbs over Team Christian. Hangman Page comes down, he told Ricky Starks to hold his beer, but they ended up catching a powerbomb from Brian Cage. They're really setting up for that Brian Cage and Hangman Adam Page match. And the first match was really good. I can only imagine what their pay-per-view match is going to be. Next up, we had Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. They were facing the Acclaim. I want to take a minute to discuss the Acclaim. When the Acclaim first debuted, preferably Max Caster, I was watching them on AEW Dark, and I wasn't feeling the gimmick. It felt kind of John Cena-ish. But then I actually got to listening to what he was saying. And I just want to run through the lyrics for you guys on AEW Dynamite. Because I honestly had to listen to it on a number of times just so I could really understand what he was saying. So he said, the Acclaim is the paradigm shift. These two guys exchange Valentine's gifts. Yo, Eddie, why you dressed like this old foe? You look like a box of Newports. And Mox, you're way out of your element. I'm gonna knock you out with this mic like Omega did. Call your girl, she all in my mentions, trying to hit me up for some oral sessions. I really was taken back by what he said. And I had to reassess everything. And I went back and I started listening to his older opening raps. And I just remember he said something about Taylor Swift's dogs. They got kidnapped, and I guess the dog owner was injured. And I'm like, oh no, that's not it. But this man is fucking phenomenal. This guy is fucking awesome. Max Caster's gonna be a star. And honestly, I would keep them together with Anthony Bowens. I like that team, and they grew on me. This team's gonna go places. The Acclaim. Next up, we have the Pinnacle. They're at a nice dinner. MJF is talking about how funny Chris Jericho is, but says this is the first time you have to deal with somebody who gets the last laugh. Dax Wilder goes on a rant saying last year's Stadium Stampede was a dog and pony show, but this year is going to be serious. Sean Spears then takes a waiter's head, slams it through to the table, and threatens him with the bottom. His glass was empty. I'm surprised Sean Spears is having to wait like that. He is a perfect 10. Tony Blanchard throws him some money. MJF says that the Inner Circle agrees to Stadium Stampede. It will be their last match because when you're in the Pinnacle, you're always on top. I cannot agree more, MJF. When you are the Pinnacle. Moving on, we had match number 3 for the night. Rebel versus Hikaru Shida. Rebel hit Shida in the back with her crutch. A toss suplex got a 2 on Shida. But she's right back with a knee breaker. Stretch muffler. Rebel taps. I'm sorry. Post-match, the Doctor, DMD, Britt Baker, curb stomp Shida, and with the Women's Championship right underneath her. She curb stomped her into the AEW Women's Championship. There is no doubt in my mind that the Doctor, Britt Baker, is walking out of Double or Nothing with the AEW Women's Championship. It is her time. It is her time. And like she said, it's funny. She'd created this monster, and it's going to be the monster that dethrones her. Signed, DMD. Next up, we had the Inner Circle to respond to the Pinnacle. Ortiz promises violence. Sammy Guevara says this is never over. No matter what he does, he promises to douse the Pinnacle in a little bit of bubbly and make them flop around like dumbass fish. There was a dumbass fish chant. I'm convinced Chris Jericho has touched every one of these boys that they can get shit over, anything over, even as something as this dumbass fish. They all say that they want to have the match. Jake Hager's in it too, which just leaves Jericho. Jericho talks about being done. Blood and guts took a piece of their souls. They aren't sure if it's worth it, but Jericho can't stop thinking about MJF, looking down at him as he went crashing. He said MJF scared his family, his children, and he will never forget it. So he said, is it worth it? Of course it was worth it, because it is giving him the fire to end MJF once and for all. Stadium Stampede is on, and if the Pinnacle wants to beat him, they'll have to kill him. Yet they are still alive. So yeah, the match is on. And Pinnacle was going down. Very fired up promo from Jericho. Very fired up. I love this. Next up, my match of the night. I knew when I saw this on last week's show that this was going to be a good match. We have Miss Red Velvet versus Serena Deeb for the NWA Women's Championship. It was great to see Serena Deeb back. I know every time I see Serena Deeb, I'm going to get a fantastic match. She never disappoints. Fisherman's neckbreaker gives Deeb a 2. She stomps away at Red Velvet in the corner. Velvet comes back with a dragon screw. Velvet hit a high crossbody for a 2, followed by a standing moonsault. Deeb misses just desserts, but Velvet counters with a sunset flip into a cradle for a 2 count. Serena power bombs Red Velvet for a 2 count, and then she hits the Serenity Lock. Velvet can't get to the ropes, but refuses to tap. Serena Deeb then transitions into a figure 4 that is reversed into a small package for a 2. She then goes back to the Serenity Lock, and before she locks it in, she slams Red Velvet's knee a couple times into the mat just to secure the deal. Red Velvet could do nothing but tap. Like I said, Serena Deeb puts on a beautiful match every time she's out there. I loved this match. It was absolutely a nice match to watch, and AEW's women's division is leaps and bounds way better than it used to be. It's coming together really well. Next up, we had Austin Gunn versus the Governor, Anthony Ogogo. Gunn started off hot drop kicks right at the bell. Ogogo is actually mostly blind in his bad eye, in one of his eyes. So he was protecting his bad eye. He then lands a gut shot. He then lands another gut shot, and Austin Gunn begins to cough up blood. He then throws him in the air and lands another punch for the TKO win. Quick match. I don't want to see Cody versus Anthony Ogogo. I'm very concerned if he can actually wrestle. And I don't see how this works out, because even if for the life of me, AEW just says, all right, Cody, you're going to lose, and you're going to lose in, let's just say, a squash. That's not getting Anthony Ogogo over. I don't know what they're going to do, but they have shown a tendency to get themselves out of corners. We all thought the same thing with Jade Cargill. We hadn't seen a lick of wrestling. And she shows up and she looks really good. We were talking about Shaq as well in that match, and Shaq looked good as well. So I'm very interested to see what they do and how they do that match. Main event, Varsity Blondes versus the Young Bucks for the AEW Tag Team Championships. Garrison and Nick both run the ropes until a boot lands Nick in a hurry. Matt comes in and gets a boot of his own. Pillman comes in for some stereo drop kicks to the champs. Pillman gets sent outside onto the ramp, leaving Nick to walk the ropes with the help of his brother Matt and do a splash. Pillman hit a crossbody and getting over to the hot tag for Garrison. Garrison runs wild after the tag, hits a slingshot crossbody onto both champs. Pillman sends Nick's kick into Matt and hits a super kick of his own. Matt is right back with a sharpshooter. Nick adds the cold spray to Pillman. Garrison makes the save, but Nick hits a couple of super kicks. Matt then gets another can of hairspray, but the cheerleader called him out for it. Miss Hart called him out for it. They throw in a third can of spray, and they hit the cheerleader, Miss Hart, in the eyes with the spray. They then relock in the sharpshooter. Nick adds in a slingshot X Factor, and Brian Pillman taps. This was a really good main event too. AEW had a lot of great wrestling on the card tonight. Every match was good. It was just with AEW, you expect those great shows, those shows that you walk away like, this was like a 10 out of 10 show. But then they give you like a 6, a 5 or 6 out of 10, and you're like, I feel kind of disappointed. But this show had great action on it. Great action. My wrestler of the night, I'm going to give it to Miss Serena Deeb. Match of the night, I'm going to give it to Serena Deeb versus Red Velvet, NWA Women's Championship match. Like I said, Serena Deeb can do no wrong. Put her in the ring with anybody. You know what type of match you're going to get. She is a great wrestler. Now I'm going to also rate the show. Like I said, 5 or 6. And it's like 6.5 out of 10. It was a decent show. The action in the show was actually really good. Well, that is your AEW Dynamite review for May 19, 2021. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I go by KBTHEMARK, and we will see you soon.